Well, welcome everyone to Common Sense in an Uncommon World. And we call this kind of our Super Bowl edition because for Mike, I can't believe it, but your team is back in the Super Bowl again. Good Lord.
We're we're back.
Well, and you're back with the rookie. I mean, the guy was
Yeah.
what, picked up in 2024. He's 23 years old. Uh, you guys have had just a tremendous ability just to kind of rebuild after just a few years after, Tom Brady left.
Well, it's funny because someone said to me yesterday, I was in a supermarket here in Huntsville and I had my Patriots gear on, obviously. And someone said, I can't believe you guys are back this long. And I said, man, you don't know how long it's been for us that have been used to the Tom Brady, Bill Belichick years of 2020, 2001 to 2020 to 2020 or 2019. So yeah, happy we're back. Different crew, different team, but really surprised that they're back this far this soon.
Well, I think part of it is just kind of a testament to the investment that Kraft and a lot of the other folks, have done for the team. Kind of looked at putting some good pieces together. I mean, you guys, you shined where you had to. I mean, getting this young quarterback who's just done a tremendous job. But a lot of it is just being able to give him the opportunity to be able to throw the ball or take off.
Yeah, I think a
And
lot of people saw he had talent, but he really didn't have either the team around him or, in my opinion, more importantly, the coaches around him to help him, you know, do better, succeed. And, bringing in a new head coach that they did in Vrabel and bringing in or bringing back really Josh McDaniels, I think made a huge difference for Drake May.
well,
So we'll see what happens on Sunday.
yeah, and one the thing is, you look at the other side of the ball. You've got Sam Darnold, who has really, if you look at this thing, it's a reinvention, kind of redemption. He's
Hmm.
played for multiple teams. He was labeled a bust. You got the Vikings to let go of him last year because he was like, "Hey,
Dumb.
we're going to go in a different direction." And what you see, at least at least the last several games, is kind of a mind reset where, accepting imperfection, but just really that defense behind him and giving them the ability to be successful here. And look, he's got this Seattle Seahawks in the Super Bowl.
Right. Yeah, no, even the Seahawks, I mean, they're a young team. They have a new coach. I think he's been there 2 years now.
Yeah.
They got a new quarterback. I mean, and I'm thrilled for Sam Darnold, because, he ended up with the Jets, which was, uh, I'm not sure if it's hell, but it's certainly purgatory. And did well. I mean, he was what, 14-3 or something like that with Minnesota last year, and they let him go, which was pretty unbelievable. Um, and he goes to another team and performs again. So good for him. Happy for the guy.
Same here. And it's obviously we would be remiss if we didn't talk about what has been dominating quite a bit of news is his Bad Bunny, is now is going to be doing the halftime show.
Hmm.
Um, Bad Bunny, otherwise known as Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio. And there's been quite a bit of controversy, surrounding this selection by the NFL. First of all, the entire performance from what has been written will be entirely in Spanish. You've also have, him who has failed in the past to, I think it was in October, there was during a baseball game, failed to stand up during the God Bless America. People around him were saying, "Hey, you can stand up," and it looked like he just kind of shrugged it off. He just won a Latin Grammy Award for, I think it was Album of the Year,
Hmm.
and he talks about ice and so forth. And I guess the question is, the NFL must be asking itself, as does everyone else, will he do something during the Super Bowl that kind of goes against what Roger Goodell spoke about, which a few days ago, which said, the Super Bowl is about unity, uniting people and not dividing them. And so that's been the big talk. What's your take on this, Mike?
The Super Bowl's about money for Roger Goodell. I mean, by the way, Bad Bunny, his paycheck is zero for his performance because of the publicity and the notoriety and the exposure that he gets. Not that he needs it, because obviously he's a very successful recording artist.
Mhm.
But you're right. I mean, Goodell's quote was, "The other reason is he, Bad Bunny, understood the platform he was on, and that this was the platform to use to unite people and be able to bring people together with their creativity and with their talent," which is BS. And I think what happens here is that the NFL looked at it, said, Bad Bunny is huge. They are attempting to break into the Latino market, and they ha now have games down in Mexico, and so it's a smart business decision. Plus, which it brings more attention. The Super Bowl isn't really for most people about football. It's an event.
Mhm.
And people get together, people have parties. It's more of a social event, or a big event in culture, as opposed to just another football game for most people. And so, I would think the NFL enjoys the notoriety and the conflict and the publicity that comes with it.
Well, and I think you're right. It's in the sense of it. I think it's important for people to realize that Bad Bunny is a good decision for the NFL as far as popularity. I mean, you've got the halftime show that usually runs 12 to 14 minutes.
No,
Obviously,
it's longer. I mean, halftime at the Super Bowl is, I think, at least 30 minutes.
oh, okay.
Oh yeah, that's one of the things that the players have to prepare for. Usually in a regular game, it's like 15 minutes. They're back out on the field and playing again. Um, it's this runs a lot longer.
Well,
Um,
when you look at Bad Bunny, at least in the decision that the NFL has decided to make, I mean, the guy's got like 113 songs that have landed on the Billboard's top 100. He now has 6 Grammy Awards, 17 Latin Grammy Awards, 16 Billboard Music Awards. He is, he is. If you look at streaming, what a lot of people do, like Spotify, for example,
mhm.
they've named him the top global artist 4 times, scored more than 19.8 billion streams of his songs in 2025, just in 2025. And so you're right, it is a good business decision. It allows the NFL to go expand itself into another market. He will become the first Spanish speaking headliner, totally Spanish speaking headliner, because before you had Shakira, you had J-Lo, and oddly
Christina
enough,
Aguilera.
he also performed, Bad Bunny also performed in that halftime show, in collaboration with them. And so,
Mhm.
you know, I don't I'll be watching. I know part of the family. I know I said they want to watch the alternative one. I've got to watch this because, just for work, if should he say something or do something, then I'll get asked about it on Univision or Telemundo to kind of make a comment
Um,
on on what he's saying. So, I enjoy his music. I listen to it. But yeah, this it seems like I don't know, a little bit of controversy right now because he has been outspoken about President Trump. He's been very outspoken on ICE.
mhm.
He's been outspoken on a variety of issues and some really good issues where he talks about human trafficking. He's talked about other individuals who are the LGBT Q community that he is taking on that particular cause. And so I don't know if the NFL is ready for this particular another headache where you had Colin Kaepernick, right, take a knee, and now do you have something like this? I mean, we haven't had a controversy within the NFL on a halftime show since the nip slip, which was
I
20
was
years ago.
there.
Were you actually
I
there?
was at that game.
Oh shoot.
Had no idea. I remember it was in Houston. My friend Matt and I went, and at halftime at the Super Bowl, you do what everybody else does. You go to the bathroom. So I had no idea that what had happened in the halftime show until my friend Matt's father-in-law picked us up at the game, and he was like, "Boy, what did you think of the big controversy?" And I was like, "What controversy? We won the game. Who cares?" And then, it blew up into a huge thing, and it was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. But it's again, it's good for, and I don't say it's good for the NFL. It's what the NFL wants.
Mhm.
Let's be clear. I am a New England Patriot fan. Roger Goodell is the devil. Okay, so let's just do that that disclaimer right now. And if he wasn't the devil before, after the last 2 weeks when Bill Belichick did not make the Hall of Fame and Bob Kraft did not make the Hall of Fame, he's El Diablo in the seventh layer of hell. So now that we got that on the table, Roger Goodell looks at this as a business decision. And, Bad Bunny is anti-Trump. There's no doubt about that. And Donald Trump is a president that believes that he has a right to, and he does have a right to say anything that he wants to say about any particular thing. It doesn't have to be about politics, doesn't have to be about policy. He's the president. He wants to weigh in on a social issue or a cultural issue in this particular case. He's going to do it. He's going to do it with the full force of Trump. And that's the way it should be. And the NFL is loving it. Goodell is sitting back because, every time that clash happens, more people talk about it and they can charge the advertisers more money. And you mentioned the alternative. I was surprised, at the lineup that they put forward for the alternative show by TPUSA, um, Turning Point. I thought there were some others that they would have had in there that were more, um, I don't want to say famous, but more relevant, probably is the word I would use for it. I was surprised that it wasn't as heavyweight as it probably could have been. Um,
Well,
but again,
I'm sure some of those have decided not to in case they get called in for the next one or two or three, Super Bowls or collaboration.
yeah, it's funny because I saw I believe me, I didn't watch the Grammys. But at the Grammys, Jelly Roll won an award, and he was criticized for his. It just cracks me up, and it just shows how out of touch culturally some people on the left are. They praise, they celebrate, they love Bad Bunny saying "Ice Out," and Jelly Roll gets up there and says Jesus doesn't know any party, he doesn't know any politics. Jesus is for everybody, and he gets criticized for that. And to me, that says people are so out of touch with reality.
Yeah.
Both are an expression of their freedom of speech. And one is praised, the one that says ice out, and one is criticized for saying Jesus is for everybody. He doesn't know politics. And to me, that's what's wrong with America right now. And the other part is that, I read the comments he made on the red carpet, where he said in a few years, 3 to 5 years, there may be a Super Bowl in Nashville because they're building a new stadium. And, maybe it'll be a country music theme, which is more American. And I honestly, I laughed when he said that because I went to a game. I went to the Patriot game when they played the Tennessee Titans earlier this year or last year. And it was funny because the thing that I walked away from was, during the commercial breaks and the halftime and everything else, we literally could look at across the river at Country Music Hall of Fame and everything else, but all they played was rap music. And I remember I remember turning to the people I was with. I was like, did I miss something? I mean, they've got, literally across the river is the Country Music Hall of Fame and everything else, and they're playing rap music at a Tennessee Titan game. It's all about taste, but um, it just that really struck me was the chord, the way it was that, they criticized Jelly Roll for not trash and ice, and they criticized him for praising Jesus and saying he's for everybody if you want him.
Yeah.
He didn't say you have to have him. He said he's for everybody if you want him, regardless of your party, which is true. And so I just think that that's really where the culture divide is, and the NFL is going to reap some bucks from it. Um, and if Roger Goodell honestly thinks that this is a unifying event, then maybe he's had too much Bud Light.
Well, and obviously we'll end up seeing what transpires with the Super Bowl. I'm sure the NFL, like everyone else, has got their different talking points ready to go. Should something controversial happen during the Super Bowl, they'll have a certain set. And at the same time, should everything go well, then it goes on well. But Good luck, Mike, on this game going Sunday.
Well, it should be a good game. I hope it's a good game. I'll be doing what I do at halftime. Every time the Patriots play is I'll be in a corner working the rosary beads, calling on every saint that I know, calling on my mom who's in heaven to help out too, because she was a huge Patriots fan. So far it's worked 6 times, so give it another shot.
Give it another shot.
But we'll see what happens. I just think it's one of those things. Again, it's not just a game, it's a cultural event. I think the other thing too is, by the way, and I just got to say this, whatever happened to the good old days and the early times when you didn't have contrasting concerts. I mean, if you didn't want to watch the concert, you could watch the Puppy Bowl. I remember that.
Yeah.
Or then there was the Bikini Bowl with the girls in the bikinis playing football. Now, I'd skip the onion dip and watch, one of those two things. So, and the other thing too, I think that's about that it's about is that the commercials.
Yeah.
We shouldn't forget about, everybody talks about it. People want to, I mean, advertisers pay through the roof. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I saw a preview of one of them last night that people are going to, I think, are just going to flip. Well, some people will. It'll be a cultural question. This will be another one. The Budweiser commercial, which are always amazing. And I saw the preview of the one that they're going to play during the game. And it is very much based on America 250.
Hmm.
And it'll be interesting to see what people's reaction was. Mine was, I was blown away. Um, but it'll be those things are the ones that a lot of people watch as well.
Yeah, and you got your family together, like ours. Like we'll be at Amy's parents' house, and we'll be barbecuing and stuff, and just everyone there. The kids will be there, and so kind of going back and forth between the game and hanging out with their friends and so
Yeah.
forth. So that's the nice part about this is, and you're right. Everyone kind of comes together, look at the ads and see how cool they are and
Oh
so forth.
yeah.
It's a fun
The
time.
creativity that goes into some of these things and certainly the cost that goes into it is,
Tremendous. Because
the tremendous.
you're right, because it's not just the airtime. The airtime may be $10 million for a 30-second ad, but it's everything else. It's the production. It's
Oh
everything else
yeah.
that comes into it. Yeah, that is
Yeah,
tremendous. Yeah,
they showed some of that in the show I was watching last night, the production that goes into it.
yeah.
And, I mean, there's one for Duncan with Dave Portnoy, who's a ESPN guy now and who's a huge Patriot fan, and him and Malcolm Butler are outside, at Dunkin' Donuts, and they're stopping people who have either Starbucks or Seattle coffee and saying, basically accosting them, saying, what are you doing drinking that coffee? Come on, we'll buy you a Dunkin'. I mean, so you get that kind of stuff too. Again, I think to me that's the enjoyable part. It's funny because Bad Bunny's going to be singing in Spanish, and I don't want to say anything bad here, but let me just say, I wouldn't know what he's singing, but that's okay. When I heard some of the rap singers they've had in the past, I had no idea what the hell they were talking about. I
Mike,
mean, I
I,
was
I, Mike,
the one with
I speak Spanish, and it's even
it,
hard to understand him because he
is it really?
mumbles. Yes, because he mumbles, and
Yeah,
so
it's like, what
for
the hell is
people who
this guy
speak
talking
Spanish,
about?
we're like we could understand maybe 20%, 25%.
Well, the one I remember was Kendrick Lamar
Mhm.
did one pretty recently, like in the last 3 or 4 years, and Serena Williams was in it, and there was this whole other telenovela going on about Serena Williams and Kendrick Lamar and some other dude, and I'm like, What are we talking about here?" I mean, this was like, this is a halftime show, but I had no clue, but everybody else knew what was going on. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, thank you again for making me feel old, but I'm going to enjoy the game. I'm going to enjoy the commercials, and at halftime, I'll have my rosary beads out.
There you go. Thanks, Mike.
All right.